there was a great samurai warrior. He was known not just for his bravery and courage on the battlefield, but he was really known for his compassion and wisdom. And everywhere that he went, people would bow down to him out of great respect to honor him. Now, among his entourage, there was a tea master whose job it was to perform the tea ceremony. And one day, they had traveled to another village, and as they were passing through, the tea master was watching how the people bowed down to the samurai, the great samurai, and he thought, oh, that would feel wonderful. I wonder what it would feel like to have people bow down to me and respect me like that, notice me even. Well, later that day, the samurai was taking a nap, and the tea master walked by the room and noticed that the samurai had left his suit of armor lying on the ground next to him, and there it was, unoccupied. And he went over and he began to touch that suit of armor. And the more he touched it, the more he thought how wonderful it would feel to walk around in that suit, to feel that important. And before he knew it, he had slipped himself into that suit of armor, and he put it on and felt the weight of it. And it felt very heavy. And he felt important. And he took a step or two to try it out. And then he took another step or two or three until he was walking out in the streets. And oh, people saw him, and they bowed down to him, and they honored him, and he felt so esteemed as he walked through the streets. Now, in that town, wouldn't you know, there was another samurai, and he was not a wise, compassionate samurai. He was a cruel samurai, and he had heard that the great samurai was visiting, and he was looking for him to challenge him to a duel. And he found the tea master in the samurai suit. And he said, "Are you the wise samurai that everyone's talking about?" Well, the tea master could feel the hairs on the back of his neck raised. But all he could do was nod his head. "I challenge you to a duel. Meet me tomorrow at midday. Do you accept the challenge?" And now the tea master could imagine the feel of that samurai's sword on his skin, but all he did was nod his head again. And then they parted, and he went back to where his samurai master was still sleeping, and he very slowly took off that suit of armor, laid it back on the ground, and woke up his master. And then he told him what had happened, and he said, "What shall I do?" And the samurai just nodded his head, and he said, Would you fight him for me, please?" And the samurai shook his head and said, "It's your battle. But could you teach me how to fight?" The samurai looked at the frail old tea master and shook his head again and said, "No, I don't think so." "Well, what shall I do? He will surely kill me with his sword." And the samurai said, "Yes, he surely will. But let me think about it, and while I'm thinking, would you please prepare some tea?" And so the tea master, shaking, began to prepare the tea ceremony. Now, you may know that the tea ceremony in Japan is not just making tea. It's a very intricate, precise ritual. And as the tea master began to perform all of the steps, with each step he became more and more focused and calm. He unfurled the mat. He set out the cups, just so. He sifted through the leaves, and he paid such close, perfect attention that when he was finished, he was completely centered and calm. And the samurai said, "I see what you are to do." And what is that? Tomorrow, you will face the samurai as yourself. So the next day, when they met at the appointed place, the tea master arrived not in the suit of armor, but wearing the robes of the tea master and carrying the armor on his arm. And when the samurai saw him, he raised his sword and said, "Are you ready to duel?" And the tea master said, "Not quite. Let's have tea first." And he began to prepare the tea ceremony. And with every step of the ritual, he became more and more absorbed in what he was doing. And he performed the ceremony with great elegance and grace. And he brought all of his years of skill and discipline and training to every motion that he made, until every fiber of his being was completely absorbed in every motion that he made, until every step had been performed with great precision and tranquility and harmony. And when he was finished, he looked up, and the samurai bowed to him and said, "If you perform in battle with 1/2 of the focus and discipline that you use in the tea ceremony, I don't stand a chance. I surrender to you." And he prostrated himself to the tea master. And then they parted. And later, the wise samurai said to the tea master, "So today you learned the lessons of knowing what you are doing, knowing who you are, and being just yourself." And so may we all, as we move through all of the Sphirot, move towards enlightenment maybe, may we remember to just be ourselves.
Debra Zaslow. Magida Debra Zaslow.